Imagine a life drenched in pleasure, every whim catered to, every desire instantly gratified. Sounds like paradise, right? But what if this relentless pursuit of happiness is actually a carefully crafted cage? What if the very things we think are freeing us are silently enslaving us? Aldous Huxley, in his prophetic masterpiece Brave New World, warned us about a society controlled not by force, but by pleasure. A world where citizens were pacified with a drug called soma, ensuring perpetual contentment, no matter how hollow their existence. Huxley wasn't talking about physical chains. He envisioned a far more insidious form of control, the addiction to pleasure itself. Fast forward to today. We might not have soma, but look around. The constant ping of notifications, the endless scroll of social media, the promise of instant entertainment at our fingertips. Aren't we being offered our own version of this pacifying pleasure? Are these digital delights truly bringing us happiness? Or are they subtly trapping us in a cycle of endless consumption? Modern psychology sheds light on this. Think about the last time you reached for your phone for a quick dopamine hit. A like, a funny video, a fleeting moment of connection. Hours can vanish, leaving you feeling more empty than before. This isn't accidental. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure, releasing dopamine with every reward. But the anticipation of pleasure often gives us a bigger hit than the pleasure itself, keeping us hooked in a never-ending chase. Psychologists call this the hedonic treadmill. No matter how much pleasure we accumulate, a new gadget, a delicious meal, a thrilling experience, we quickly adapt, and the craving for the next fix begins. We become prisoners of our own desires, constantly striving for a satisfaction that always seems just out of reach. It's like running on a treadmill. You exert energy, but you never actually move forward in terms of lasting fulfillment. The consequences are real. Studies have shown a troubling link between excessive screen time, especially on social media, and rising rates of anxiety and depression. The more disconnected we feel in the real world, the more we seek solace in the digital realm, creating a vicious cycle that perpetuates our misery. So, what's the alternative? Philosopher Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, argued that true fulfillment comes not from chasing happiness, but from finding purpose. When we lack meaning, we're more susceptible to the allure of fleeting pleasures, which only deepens our sense of emptiness. Ask yourself, are you living a life driven by purpose? Or are you letting the pursuit of pleasure dictate your choices? Every day, we face these small but significant decisions. Another episode or quality time with family? Endless scrolling or investing in personal growth? These seemingly insignificant moments accumulate to define our lives. Aldous Huxley wisely noted our tendency to take things for granted in the pursuit of constant pleasure. We risk overlooking the deeper joys of genuine connection, creativity, self-discovery, and contributing to something bigger than ourselves. Here's a crucial insight. Pleasure, when pursued recklessly, doesn't lead to freedom. It creates invisible chains of habit, craving, and distraction that drain our energy, time, and potential. We become consumers in a marketplace where our attention is the most valuable commodity, constantly being bought and sold by algorithms designed to keep us hooked. Neuroscientists have shown how our brains are wired to seek rewards. Every like, every notification, every new piece of content triggers a dopamine release, reinforcing the behavior. And here's the kicker. The anticipation of pleasure often releases more dopamine than the pleasure itself. This is why we obsessively check our phones, craving that next potential hit of validation or entertainment. Think about your own life. How often do you reach for a quick fix of pleasure? A snack, a video, a moment of distraction, only to feel hollow afterward. These aren't coincidences. They're carefully engineered experiences designed to exploit our vulnerabilities and keep us engaged, even if it's ultimately unfulfilling. But the pursuit of unchecked pleasure doesn't just steal our time, it steals our potential. When we prioritize fleeting gratification over meaningful pursuits, we sacrifice the opportunity to grow, learn, and contribute. Author Cal Newport, in his book Deep Work, highlights how shallow engagement with technology erodes our ability to focus and achieve mastery. The greatest rewards in life come not from easy pleasures, but from sustained effort and deep concentration. Our society often normalizes this pleasure-seeking. From advertisements promising instant happiness to cultural messages equating success with material wealth, we're constantly told that more is better. But philosopher Erich Fromm warned us about this trap, arguing that an obsession with having over being leads to a superficial existence where true joy is replaced by the hollow satisfaction of ownership. So, what's the way out? It starts with a shift in mindset, from seeking pleasure to seeking purpose. This doesn't mean abandoning joy, but rather understanding its role in a fulfilling life. Psychologist Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology, showed that the most fulfilling lives are centered on meaning, engagement, and positive relationships. Pleasure is a part of this equation, but it's not the whole story. Take a moment right now and ask yourself, what truly brings you lasting joy? Not the fleeting kind that fades with the next notification, but the deep satisfaction that comes from creating, connecting, and contributing. Identify one area in your life where you might be prioritizing short-term gratification over long-term growth. The truth is, the unchecked pursuit of pleasure becomes a pursuit of slavery. To be truly free, we must learn to discern between what delights us momentarily and what ultimately diminishes us. The answers aren't in the next distraction, but in the quiet moments of self-reflection. Aldous Huxley's warning extends beyond the individual. He foresaw a soft tyranny, a control that feels comforting rather than oppressive. Alexis de Tocqueville also warned that people might willingly surrender their freedoms for comfort and security. Look at our world. Smart devices making decisions for us. Apps delivering instant gratification. While convenient, this dependence can subtly erode our autonomy. This dependence doesn't feel like enslavement. It feels like progress. It feels good, and that's what makes it so dangerous. When was the last time you chose discomfort for the sake of growth, instead of opting for the path of least resistance? This isn't just a personal issue, friends. A pleasure-obsessed culture can impact our relationships, communities, and even the planet. Studies show that people who prioritize intrinsic goals like personal growth and relationships report higher levels of happiness than those chasing extrinsic rewards like wealth and fame. Yet, our culture often pushes us towards the latter. Why? Because a society built on consumerism thrives on dissatisfaction. If you were truly content, you wouldn't need the next product or trend. No amount of external pleasure can fill an internal void. The relentless pursuit of pleasure is often a way to avoid the harder but more rewarding work of self-discovery. So, how do we escape this trap? It begins with awareness. We must recognize the systems and behaviors that keep us enslaved to pleasure. But awareness isn't enough. We must take action. Start small. Turn off unnecessary notifications, set boundaries with technology, choose meaningful activities over mindless distractions. These actions might seem small, but they are revolutionary in a world designed to keep you distracted. Real freedom comes not from doing whatever we want, but from having the discipline to choose what truly matters. Philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." When we anchor our lives to a deep purpose, the fleeting allure of pleasure loses its grip. Think about those who have made a lasting impact. Their greatness wasn't born from seeking comfort, but from embracing struggle in pursuit of something larger than themselves. The most profound joys often come from acts of service, creativity, and perseverance. Viktor Frankl offered a path forward, highlighting 3 sources of meaning: creating something of value, experiencing love and connection, and finding growth in suffering. Each of these requires us to look beyond ourselves and our immediate desires. Ask yourself, what legacy do you want to leave behind? How can you use your strengths to contribute to others? When faced with difficulty, how can you transform it into an opportunity for growth? These questions are transformative. By seeking answers, you take the first steps towards breaking free from the chains of pleasure. True happiness, as Aristotle believed, comes from eudaimonia, the flourishing life. This isn't a life of endless pleasure, but a life aligned with virtue, wisdom, and intentionality. To live such a life, we must develop discipline. Discipline is the ability to choose long-term rewards over short-term gratification. As author Jocko Willink says, discipline equals freedom. It's through discipline that we gain mastery over our impulses and become creators of our destinies. Cultivate discipline by building small, consistent habits. Wake up a little earlier for reflection. Set aside time for meaningful goals. Limit exposure to distractions. Embrace discomfort. Growth rarely happens in comfort zones. Every time you choose discipline over indulgence, you strengthen your ability to live with purpose. Aldous Huxley warned us about a world where pleasure could be a tool of control. But he also believed in our capacity for awareness and resistance. You have the power to break free by choosing purpose over pleasure, discipline over indulgence, and meaning over distraction. So, what will you choose? Will you continue down the easy path of fleeting desires, or will you rise above, embracing the challenge of living with intention and purpose? The choice is yours. Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this insightful, be sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's build a world where freedom isn't a forgotten ideal, but a lived reality.